Readers of Flannery O'Connor typically ask one question, and that's, why are her stories so violent, so disturbing, so sort of twisted and grotesque? Her characters are hanged, shot, run over multiple times by a car, they die of heart attacks, they are killed by serial killers, they inflict tortures on themselves in penance and on each other. It's a world populated by con men and circus freaks and street preachers. And O'Connor herself was actually asked that question in her life, and she sort of addresses it in one of her essays. She says, "To the hard of hearing you shout, and to the almost blind you draw large and startling pictures." And that, in a lot of ways, is what she's doing in her fiction. She's drawing violent, large, and startling pictures. She's writing to a world that is desensitized to evil, a world no different from our own, a world in which we're surrounded by images of violence in fiction, in film, in television, and images of evil, and a world in which evil is often presented as attractive, as exciting, as bold. And for O'Connor, her project is to portray evil as it is, to give an accurate portrait of what evil looks like. And that's what her stories do. Her stories tend to follow or sort of act out one character's confrontation with a moment of violence. One character who is confronted in a moment of violence, in a moment of what O'Connor would say is a moment of grace, confronted with what they really are, confronted with who they've become, with the evils they've embraced. A character bigoted or racist or hard-hearted, selfish, greedy. A character who's prideful is confronted through this moment of violence with what evil really is, and then has the opportunity to make the choice between good and evil. And typically her stories don't show us what that choice is, but rather leave us with the knowledge that that character has to make the choice. In terms of reading O'Connor, I often suggest that people start with her essays or her letters. She has a great volume of essays called Mystery and Manners, and a short collection of letters, it's a long collection of letters, called Habit of Being. And in those two books, you get to know Flannery O'Connor, the woman, Flannery O'Connor, the writer, the student, Flannery O'Connor, who was here in Iowa City, who was at the writer's workshop. And she's a funny and lovable and profound and interesting person. And from that starting point, from loving O'Connor, I think from beginning to know who she is, that prepares you in a way for reading her large and startling short fiction.